Okay, we have all 5 board members. Welcome, everybody. It is May 14th, 2025. This is a regular meeting of the Land Use Review Board. My name is Janet Hurley. I am the chair, and I will ask each of our board members to introduce themselves as I see them on my screen. Sarah?
Sarah Hyde, board member, present.
Kirsten?
Kirsten Sultan, present.
Alex?
Alex Weinhagen, board member.
And Brooke?
Brooke Dingledine, board member.
Thank you. Do we have any updates to the agenda? Hearing none.
Okay.
Do we have any public present that would like to make any comment at this point on any non-agenda items? We can come back to this when we see public participants, I suppose. So let's move on to consent agenda. Review of minutes from April 28th, May 1st, and May 7th.
I'll make a motion to approve, but have some amendments.
Okay,
I'll second that.
thank you. And discussion, Sarah, what are your amendments?
All right, I'll take the 428 ones first. In section D, Central Vermont Regional Planning Commission, replace the word hearing in the second sentence with outreach. And I don't know if it's possible to attribute the public comments that were made to a particular person, but if that's possible, that might be a nice thing to do.
For April 28th?
Yes.
And do you, I mean, I think it's possible. Do you remember who it was? Do you want to throw out the name?
I believe so. I'm happy to catch up with Rebecca offline just to.
Well, I
make
think
sure.
if we're gonna, you mean going forward? Or changing the April 28th minutes?
If it's possible to, on the April 28th minutes, I think it may have.
If you're talking about the Central Vermont Regional Planning Commission conversation specifically, Sarah, that was Brian Voigt.
Yep, it is.
I had some suggested changes to the minutes. If we can move on to those, for this minutes, the 28th.
Sure.
Okay, so on that same page, page 2, there's about 50 minutes of under agenda item C, introductions and district staff and commissioner comments and questions. But that 50 minutes is rendered in one sentence. The board invited attendees to share their thoughts, concerns, and questions. We did get some substantive feedback during that discussion from Don Marsh, Ed Stanek, Kevin Anderson, Susan Baird, Will Pitkin. I've got just a few notes on what each of them said. I like short minutes, but I also like to reflect when people give us feedback and make sure that that's captured, at least in a small nugget. So my suggestion is to add that in that section.
So here's what I'm going to do for April 28th is maybe if you, Sarah, and Alex can relay some of those proposed changes to Rebecca, we can approve them at the next meeting rather than fixing it all right here, since some of these are substantive additions. Is that okay, Rebecca?
Yep, that sounds good.
All right, and I'll amend my motion to be just for the minutes of the 1st and the 8th.
Okay.
And I have comments on the 1st, if we can move to that.
Sure.
All right. In section D, remove the word that in the third sentence, third line. In section F, clarify under budget that this is the Senate's proposed budget rather than the budget that we're currently operating under.
I was gonna make that same suggestion about the budget, that it clarify it's the Senate version of the FY 26 state budget, specifically Bill H 493.
I also have under section E, change Rutland Region Planning Commission to Rutland Regional Planning Commission. And also maybe clarified the board requested CCRPC to concern earlier rather than a late October submission, keeping in mind the 60-day response time. So revise that last sentence. Consider labeling the village hamlet or village center a hamlet if the municipality does not want a designation. I think that was what you said, Janet, but I think that was your recommendation to Charlie there.
Yeah.
Another one is under section E, change commissioners to commissions. And clarify RPC's request an opportunity to provide comment.
Sarah, are we still on the May 1st minutes?
Sorry, May 8th.
Okay,
Sorry, I skipped. Too many browsers open. Okay. But
Let me just ask Rebecca, are you following these?
Sarah, you could just send me your comments maybe on the, would that be
Okay.
okay? Thanks.
Yeah. Kirsten,
So I have some minor comments on section D as well. Maybe I could send those to Rebecca.
can you relay them out loud first?
Oh, sure. Yeah, so I think it should capture that I presented and provided an opportunity to discuss the survey results and the file review data. And the last sentence, FPR has a list and set up 2 Teams meetings. It should read, like omit the sentence and replace it with, a list of wood products manufacturer permittees has been split into 2, and 2 different supplemental meeting opportunities are being provided, one to be undertaken by FPR and one to be undertaken by the board.
Okay,
So
Can
just a
I-
little,
can
go
I
ahead.
suggest that we also then put this one off till the next meeting to approve, and Kirsten can forward that language to Rebecca?
I'm good with that. Thank you.
Is that May 1 or May 8?
That's the May 1st. Yeah.
May 1. Okay. So,
Yeah.
so far we're okay with May 8th, unless somebody has more substantive comments for May 8th. Brooke,
It's not May 8th, it's May 7th.
okay,
Okay.
and what are those?
No, I'm just saying you guys are saying May 8th and we have minutes
Oh,
from
it's
May
May 7th.
7th. Yeah.
Sorry, that was me. Sorry. Thank you.
no,
Sarah,
I apologize. I think it was me to start. So
okay.
So I had already made the comments about Rutland region to regional commissioners to commissions for 8th. And the last one I had was under section F2. Also change the question of whether the board and staff members need to be present at the legislature to discuss possibility of individual board members, including Pete Gill, for testimony later this week. I think it was not just us. We talked about Pete too.
So, should we have all of that forwarded to Rebecca and look at all 3 of them next meeting? And forego voting on this motion?
I'll withdraw my motion.
Okay, thank you. All right, studies and reports. As well as development of guidelines, perhaps? I'll just start. Sarah and I have been working on guidelines for the regional plan application process and the Tier 1A process. We are finishing a first draft in consultation with Rebecca on the regional plan application process. We will be sharing that with the regional planning commissions and others, as well as staff next week, at all staff meeting, I think. And we are meeting regularly with Aaron and Alex Pastor and Rachel and Rebecca on setting up this application intake process for later this year. So that's where we are on that. Let's move to Alex, and he can give us an update on what he's been spearheading.
Great. So the Tier 3 work, the second stakeholder meeting was last week, and that's been summarized. I distributed that to all of you and posted it to the website so you can see what was discussed. And the game plan moving forward is to begin some GIS analysis and crunching of maps to try to whittle it down into the resource areas that will show up in the Tier 3 rough draft, and to present that rough draft of the rules to you, to the rest of the board. Sorry, not present. Deliver that rough draft to all of you on June 12th so that it can be discussed at our June 19th meeting. That's on our master calendar if anybody wants to see that. So yeah, I think it's been a productive set of discussions. And there was potentially some interest in having another stakeholder meeting, and I decided we're not going to do that immediately. So the working group will be reconvened in July or perhaps in June once we have some draft language to react to. And the only other update, I think I've mentioned this before, is we're having a public engagement session on May 22nd. So that's next week, a week from tomorrow. And I've forwarded all of you that information. It's also up on the website for the Tier 3 project. So one more reminder, if you have channels and you have ways of disseminating that and making people aware, please do that. Just so you all know, I did forward that information, not just to the working group so that all of those stakeholders could forward it to their people, but also to the chairs of the House Environment and Senate Natural Resources Committee, as well as Senator Bongartz, who was involved in the original drafting of 181, Act 181. And at Janet and Pete's urging, I forwarded to another set of representatives who make up the Rural Caucus. And Representative Sibilia indicated that she would forward it on to all of them regarding the May 22nd meeting. Yeah. So hopefully word is getting out. And that's the Tier 3 update.
Thank you, Alex. Brooke, how about an update on appeals?
Sure. So we have had our second stakeholder meeting for the appeals study, which was Monday this week. And we discussed with the board, we're getting into, with the stakeholders, we discussed that we would postpone next Monday's meeting because we felt that there was an awful lot of information and felt that the next month or so, it would be a better approach to work on specific issues and actually homework assignments so that we can dig a little bit deeper and be prepared to come back in the first week of June in a setting where we can break into discussion groups to move forward different individual topics that all comprise the various issues that we have to consider and analyze. So at the moment, there will not be a stakeholders meeting next week. It's not canceled in terms of number of meetings. We will reschedule it later. So the next actual group event was scheduled for June 9th, but we are looking for an alternative venue so that we have the sufficient space for people to come and physically break into groups. So right now, we're trying to determine what are the best options that week for a different day for that other meeting. But we are just getting some wonderful feedback. Folks are very engaged and working collaboratively to identify what goals that we have to try to correct the frustrations that people feel are inherent in the appeals process, what we can do to recommend changes to our current system to speed things up and to prioritize housing appeals, and then to look at the board models, different ideas that people are coming up with in terms of transferring the appellate docket over to a board type model. So lots of really great input. I so appreciate all the time, particularly the private attorneys that are being involved who obviously have their job to do, but they are devoting their individual time to this, and we so appreciate the input.
Thank you, Brooke. Kirsten.
Janet?
Yeah,
Sorry, I had something to add for Brooke's benefit, if I could.
sure.
So this morning, I gave a brief update to the Lake Champlain Chamber of Commerce Regional Affairs Committee about our work as a board and Act 181 and what's happening. And I just wanted to relay, well, to everybody, but especially to Brooke, that frustration with appeals was palpable at that meeting, and that regardless of how many appeals there actually are, there's a real sense that, at least from that group, that appeals are stymieing projects, literally projects that aren't proposed because a developer is not interested in the uncertainty that comes with the appeals process. And a lot of the concerns that came up during the discussion, I don't think have much to do with a board model versus the existing court model. Has a lot more to do with who has the right to appeal, what could be appealed, what cannot be appealed. So it'll be interesting to see whether our appeal study, speaks to those things, or whether those are follow-on items that maybe get discussed if and when legislation is drafted based on this study.
Yeah, let me just follow up on that to say, we are not limiting the appeals study to strictly to the charge. We think that there are some issues that we can identify, and certainly we have a bit of a moving target at the moment because in the various the housing bill that's been going, and I think it's out of committee or in the conference committee at this point. Maybe it's beyond that, but standing in the municipal appeal arena is being contemplated to go to the constitutional standard on standing. They've been talking about that 20-person provision, either lowering it or eliminating it. So there are issues that are still in flux that may be very significant in terms of the impact that will happen on municipal appeals and, that very issue. The other thing that I have talked very cursorily with Alex about is in terms of municipalities or regional planning folks, I am more than happy to have individual meetings or group meetings with those folks, even though they were not named as individual stakeholders for the appeals study. We wanted to be sure if they wanted discussions about this and wanted some input. I think I'm absolutely thrilled if they would like to and happy to accommodate any sort of meeting so that their voice can be heard as well. We're trying to be as inclusive and expansive as we can while still being able to, run the stakeholder meetings in a way in which we're not overwhelmed with the number of participants. But if that is of interest, I'm happy to find time to arrange that kind of engagement if it would be desired.
Any more on appeals? Okay, let's move on to wood products.
So, last week, Brooke and I hosted the meeting with the invited, it was like the supplemental meeting to provide another format for wood products manufacturers to directly engage and report their experiences and any concerns about Act 250 and other state permitting. And we have those results. And in addition, I did meet separately with one of those manufacturers who was on the board's list for that supplemental engagement, who does not use technology. So that task is now complete. I've met with ANR, FPR, and also policy and planning staff to again review, where we are with the information that's been collected and hone in on some conceptual ideas to bring forward to the next stakeholder group meeting, which is tomorrow. And that's been, we met, went through everything, honed in on some primary ideas, and it's sort of been contracted and expanded. And I think now we have like 17 items. Some of them are conceptual and probably don't have legs, but we feel that it's appropriate to bring them back to the stakeholder group, which was where some of them originated, for further discussion. So yeah, our meeting is tomorrow afternoon in Montpelier.
What's the location, Kirsten, in Montpelier?
We're at National Life in the Catamount Room. Yeah.
Okay. And Sarah, do you have any reporting to the board on your work?
Tier 1A, I'm working on outward facing memo, synthesizing the process and where we're thinking we're going to be applying the application to try and get some public input as we move into drafting guidance. So I'm going to roll that out, and I have a presentation on the 28th at the all staff meeting. Going to put it out to them first for feedback. Looking forward to some of those presentations at the all staff meeting to get staff feedback first and foremost. And also, as I said, jumping in and helping with, or as you said, the regional plan process, and also working on communications.
Communications policy, inward and outward facing. Yes, thank you. Anything else from the board before we move on? Any questions of the board before we move on from anybody else in attendance? Okay, let's move on to operations, budget, and legislative updates. Pete.
Hey, there we go. Afternoon, everyone. I'll be relatively brief here. Budget updates, good news in terms of kind of the priorities that the board has been looking at, with the 2 full-time permanent positions for district coordinators being funded through the current budget, and the digital infrastructure of $100K for those projects. The status of that is right now the House is I think approving the budget from the conference committee. It's been approved by the Senate, and then it will go off to the governor's office after that. So good direction on all of those asks. We've been doing a lot, as you know, throughout the session on the open meeting law and on S59, etc. It's kind of in the hands of the legislature at this point. As you know, we're kind of wrapping up the end of the legislative session, and that should be ending around the bottom of this month. So we will know kind of where things sugared out on any of that by that point. And we've given various options to critical committees throughout the process, and also to the leadership of our jurisdictional committees as well. So that's where that is. I'll pause there. But any questions on kind of legislative and budget side of things? And then if Rachel's on, she's got some exciting news. If she's not, I can share that. Rachel, are you on? Yeah, you are.
Yep,
They're
she's
great.
here.
I'm on. Are you talking about public service recognition awards
I-
for 2025?
I most certainly am.
Well, I said this at our all staff meeting this morning, but we have named Alex Pastor is the 2025 recipient of the Public Service Recognition Award. And we sufficiently embarrassed Alex at this morning's meeting, so we'll keep it trim today. But Alex has done a lot of important work that has a long-term benefit for this program and has been doing great work for years, but she really went above and beyond this year, especially. So congratulations, Alex. And there will be a ceremony likely in June where all the recipients from all the different agencies will come together and have a celebration. So that's the news.
Thank you, Rachel. Congratulations, Alex.
Thank you. Thank you.
You are welcome.
An unrelated question.
Yeah, go ahead.
We keep talking about the FY26 budget that we're fingers crossed, going to make it through the House and have the items that we need in it. Many kudos to you, Pete, for helping facilitate that. And I'll keep my fingers and toes crossed until the governor signs it. How are we doing on the current budget year that we're in? The last time I remember us talking about this in our public facing meeting was, I guess the Pay Act was a step in the process, Rachel, and that was successfully completed. And now we're in mid-May and the budget year ends at the end of June, right? I'm just curious how things are going.
Absolutely on target for FY25, I think. So the Pay Act was a helpful step in the right direction. That's really one of the last financial milestones in the budgeting year. But otherwise, I think that we're on target in all other like expenditure categories. And I don't know, you tell me what more you'd like to know or any specifics, Alex.
It was just that sort of general take. I like to know when we're getting close to the end of the fiscal year if we're close to our targets. Sounds like we are. So
Yeah,
well done,
we are.
Rachel,
And
for helping us do that.
yeah, in the next couple of months, we're going to be, working on year-end closing, which has different deadlines for different types of invoice processing. But Pam Morin and I met today to kind of map out the next month or so of pestering emails and things for everybody to file their expense reports and, other expense claims at certain deadlines so we can get them processed for year end. So you'll see communications come out from us about that in the next couple weeks.
Excellent. Thanks, Rachel.
Mhm.
Great, thanks. Any more operations budget or legislative update talk for today?
Not from me.
Okay, and I see other staffers, but I don't see any general public participants, so I guess at this point, we could consider an executive session for possible action on legal matters. Oh, Sarah.
I'll make a motion that, or make a finding that the board needs to discuss pending and probable Act 250 appeals and enforcement actions and have a confidential attorney-client communications on these matters, and move that we find that premature public knowledge of these matters would place the board at substantial disadvantage and the board enter executive session. I think we have specifically 3 matters to discuss today that may take action when we come out. Those are docket numbers 24-ENV-00082, docket number 24-ENV-00086, enforcement case number 2024_104.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, will all those in favor please say aye? Aye.
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 Hi.
That was unanimous. We will enter into executive session and return to open meeting when we have concluded that executive session. See you on the other side. Maddie, we are back. Oh, where's Brooke? Should we tell her that we're back? We were super quick.
Janet, I'd like to make a motion if we're back and all ready.
Is Brooke back?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Sorry, I was looking for her. Okay, got it. Please do.
All
Are
right,
we recording, Maddie?
Yes, it's still recording.
Okay, great, thanks. Sarah, go ahead.
Okay, I move to authorize council to negotiate a settlement in docket number 24-ENV 0-00082 as discussed in executive session today.
Okay, any further discussion?
I'll second
I'd-
the motion.
Oh, I thought Alex did.
Oh,
Did you
sorry.
have?
I did, but then Sarah
Okay.
kept talking, so I got lost.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, okay. So we have a motion and a second. No further discussion. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Alex, I believe you have a motion on a second case.
Yes, I'll make a motion to authorize legal staff to enter into settlement negotiations in docket number 24-ENV-00086.
I'll second.
Thank you, Kirsten. Any discussion? No. Okay, so all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's another
I have-
unanimous. Another unanimous motion. Yes, and Kirsten, I believe you have a motion on an enforcement issue.
Yep. I move to authorize enforcement to transmit a notice of alleged violation with compliance directives to the respondent in enforcement case 2024-104.
Thank
Second.
you. Thank you, Alex. Any discussion?
Yes.
Yes, Brooke.
I am recusing myself from this matter due to prior representation in my prior career. So I
Thank
will
you.
not be voting on the matter.
And I will note that Brooke was not part of the executive session portion where we discussed this matter. So all those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
That was unanimous for the 4 members involved in this decision. And that's all that we have today. So I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a
No
motion
move.
to adjourn. Oh,
Kirsten, and maybe Alex can second it.
Absolutely. Second that motion.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
aye.
That is 5 ayes. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.